Okay, so this is the second webinar in our series of webinars designed to promote awareness and broader understanding about community choice aggregation. This webinar is designed to help residents gain a better understanding of CCA. You may know the basics about what CCA is, but this presentation will focus on the next steps. Just to introduce our team, if you've met me before, hi again. If you haven't, my name is Katy Vescio. I'm Client Relationship Manager on Mega's CCA team. And with me today, who'll be presenting shortly, is Nicole Correia, our CCA project organizer. And also on the line is Anna Balujo, our consultant. All right, so if this is the first, whoops, we can go back one. No, there we go. So just want to draw your attention to the CCA portion of our website where we have resources available. This is your first time learning about what community choice aggregation is. We urge you to first visit our website and click on the resources tab at the top of the page. We have recorded a webinar that provides you with an overview of CCA, and this is a great place to start to get the fundamentals. So if today is your first time hearing about CCA, we'd urge you to go back and watch that fundamentals overview to really broaden your understanding. It's important to start there and then proceed with this webinar and other information that we'll be rolling out in the future. Okay, so we can talk about why we're here today and why CCA should matter to residents. This is a resident-focused webinar. And we're trying to give you a understanding of CCA from a resident's point of view. CCA is going to have a direct impact on your electric bill if you participate. And it will also empower you to make decisions about your electricity supply that may align with your values. So there are a few questions that residents might ask themselves. Do you like the concept of getting to choose where your electricity supply comes from? Do you want to support more renewable electricity in your community? Are you someone that has maybe had a bad experience with a door-to-door energy sales company? And do you want to avoid risk and spikes in your electric bill? If you answered yes to any of these questions, CCA might be a good option for you and for your community. We think that CCA should matter to all residents, and it can help communities localize their energy decision-making, support more renewable electricity, guard against those predatory practices of some unsavory energy companies, and also provide a competitive, stable rate. All right, so if you joined us for our webinar, our Fundamentals of CCA webinar that was presented on May 20th, we explained these 7 steps in creating a CCA program in the Capital Region. And we explained how our regional CCA has progressed through the first 3 steps on your screen. And we've essentially completed the first phase of creating a CCA in the Capital Region. Right now, we're entering this next phase highlighted on your screen in blue, steps 4 and 5, which is we're calling phase 2. And this part largely takes place between your elected officials and the suppliers offering pricing and Mega, your CCA administrator. So this next part of the process really doesn't affect or involve residents directly, but we're going to take a few slides to explain it to you from a resident's point of view so you can understand what's being done to create CCA for your community. And we're going to take a few slides to explain kind of what will happen next and how communities move from a place of exploring CCA to finally formally deciding to offer a CCA program to residents. Okay, so what's next? Everyone wants to know. Give us an update on what's next. This next phase involves issuing an RFP, asking eligible suppliers to submit pricing. So Mega, as your CCA administrator, asks ESCOs to submit pricing offers. Mega evaluates those offers, compares prices for various timeframes, and we really zero in on the best options that we think municipalities should be considering. Some program features that MEGA is considering, things like the length of the CCA program. What does pricing look like for a 12-month program versus a 24-month program, or 36 months, or some other time frame in there? Pricing is probably the most important factor we consider when evaluating bids, but it isn't the only factor, and there's some other really important things we look for. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Nicole Correia. She's going to go a bit further into detail about what we look for in eligible suppliers.
Thanks, Katie. So as Katie said, when these bids come in, we are looking at several different qualifications of the suppliers. We are vetting these suppliers. We're really trying to make sure that we're choosing the most reputable suppliers who can meet the terms. We want to make sure they are financially sound. We want to make sure that they can provide a high level of customer service to the residents in the CCA, so that if you have questions anytime, day or night, you have a place that you can call and get answers from that supplier. We also like to see that they have experience in serving CCAs, whether here in New York State or in one of the other states where CCAs are operating. We're also asking them to provide 3 different pricing options. We're looking for a 100% renewable electricity option. We're looking for a renewable electricity option that provides the highest percentage of renewable electricity supply that can still come under our price to beat. And I'll explain a little more about that in a moment. And then we're also looking for pricing on the standard grid mix, which is meets New York State's clean energy standards. It still has that renewable electricity component, but it's about the same as what you're currently getting from National Grid in terms of the supply. So the question everyone always wants to know is, how much will I pay in a CCA program? We don't know that yet because we haven't gone out to bid, but we can tell you a little bit about how we ensure that you're getting a good price. When we put that bid out, the RFP out, the suppliers need to come under what we call price to beat. And that price to beat is carefully calculated based on a historic trailing average that we get from the utility. The data that's available right now is March 2019 through March 2020. So we average that variable utility rate and come up with the average of that 12 months, those 12 months. And then after we know that monthly average, there are some other factors that we need to add in to a forward-looking price. So that includes New York State's clean energy standard doubles the amount of renewable electricity that has to be within the supply. Every year that amount doubles. So that changes the pricing. So we are including that change in the clean energy standard in that price to beat. So the RFP states that price to beat, the suppliers need to come in under that. The next stage of the CCA process is going to rest with your municipal leaders. And those are some elected and appointed officials who will be in charge of making the decision. So MEGA, as the administrators, will select the winning bidder and present that pricing and those terms to your municipal officials. And they'll have a couple decisions to make. The first will be, what do we want our default offering to be? Do we want to go with the 100% renewable, the more green option, or the standard grid mix as the community's default? They'll also be choosing, the first choice before that will be whether they want to move forward. If they do want to move forward, they choose the default. And then the next step will involve the residents a bit more. As a resident, your job right now is to just stay up to date on your local leaders' decision-making process. Once they make a decision, there will be a lot of communication from us, as well as from your municipality, about what that default offering is and what your choices are. We will continue to do more webinars, education online, resources on our website and social media. So there will be webinars for each municipality so that you can learn about what your choices are and think about what the right choice for your household is. So if you do want to participate, if you decide at that point that this sounds good to you, it's the right choice for your household, and that you'd like to go with the default, you don't have to do anything. It's a pretty nice thing that you just get rolled in as an eligible resident. If you want to opt up or down or opt out, you'll do that during the opt-out process that will happen, we don't know for sure, but probably later in the fall will be the opt-out period. You'll get a letter in the mail that will describe the pricing, the terms, the default, and how to opt out or up or down. And there's, you can do that by mail, online, with a phone call. We make that very easy. So of course you want to know when will we know about the price? When will we know more? At this point, there's been clearly a lot of uncertainty in our lives and for our communities and our municipalities. So as the economy starts to reopen, we're entering phase 2 in the capital region today, markets are rebounding. As those things start to happen, the community leaders are going to start to feel out whether they're ready to make a decision about this, ready to take a look at pricing, if the pricing is favorable, and then they'll decide if it's the right time to move forward. So we won't have pricing information until those decisions are made. But as I said, in the meantime, there will be a lot of opportunity for education to learn more about CCA and to learn more about how to make that decision when the time comes. We will take a little time to answer some questions now if there are any that have come in. But you also can reach out to us at any time via any of these methods, and we're always quick to get back to you and happy to answer questions, happy to have conversations about this program and about how it will impact you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. So we've got a couple of questions to start with, and folks are free to enter them. If you want to use the Q&A feature down on the toolbar, that would be great. Otherwise, you can always contact us later, as Nicole mentioned. So one person has asked, they own a small business and they are curious if their business is eligible for CCA. So this is a resident in a CCA community asking about their small business. So the answer is maybe. So if your small business is within a CCA community and it is uses a small amount of energy, what do we mean by that? Less than 2,000 kilowatt hours per month in electricity, it may be eligible for CCA. Businesses that use more than 2,000 kilowatt hours a month are not eligible to participate. It's considered a different service class by the utility. But this program, so it does pertain to small businesses that meet those qualifying standards. And you'll know if you're a small business owner and you live within a CCA community, you'll know if you're eligible if you receive an opt-out letter. So that's why we encourage folks to keep their eyes peeled for an opt-out letter. All right, so let's see, get another question here. Is the opt-out period the only time I can opt out of the program? That's a great question. So we're really talking about, after municipal officials have made a decision, decided what to offer to the community, Nicole and I will be available to make presentations to communities, either via electronic means, such as this type of a webinar, or in-person seminars. For 60 days, we do an extensive education and outreach period to really make sure you and your neighbors understand the price that's offered to you and the product that your municipal officials chose. Once we go out and do that, there's a 30-day opt-out period. You'll get a letter from your chief elected official in your city, town, or village, and it will explain the pricing, and it will explain what you need to do to opt out, opt up, or opt down. Once you get this letter, you can opt out before the program begins. If you throw the letter away or don't pay attention and don't know about this opt-out period, any resident or small business that becomes enrolled in the program can opt out at any time after it starts. So the opt-out period is really just giving you an opportunity to decline participation before the program officially begins. There's never a fee to opt out. There's never a penalty to leave. And there's never a time at which we'll say, I'm sorry, you're stuck with this program. That never happens. CCA is designed to give residents and small businesses more choices. So great question about opt-out. All right, let's see what other questions we have. One coming in here. Okay, if I sell my house in Albany and buy another house, will I need to re-enroll? What if I move to a rental unit? So this is a great question about moving. And so if you move to another home within your same municipality, you will still be eligible to participate in the CCA. You'll get another opt-out letter during what we're calling refreshes, but it's a time at which we contact newly eligible people that come into a CCA municipality and let them know that they're in a CCA community and what they would need to do. If you move to a community that is not participating in CCA, you cannot participate. It's really just for the residents that live within the municipal boundaries of that jurisdiction. The residents that move into your old home, if they're moving back into Albany, or let's say you live in Guilderland and somebody moves into your rental property there, they will be eligible to join the CCA. So, you know, it's really focused on the jurisdiction. It's not, CCA isn't something you as a person are enrolled in. It has to do with your residence, and it has to be a residence within an eligible community. So great question. All right. Here's another one. Can I join or opt into a CCA if I already selected a supply company other than National Grid? So this is a great question. Say you've done some shopping on your own and found an ESCO that you purchase your supply through currently. You can opt into the CCA once you leave that contract with that supplier. What we generally caution residents about is know the terms of that contract to which you are already participating. So some energy supply companies, if they have you under contract for say a year and you try to leave that contract before a year, there may be penalties involved. So know that before you decide you want to opt into the CCA. CCAs, our supplier will not ever have a fee to opt out or to opt in. So that's something that is different in a CCA contract with a ESCO as opposed to maybe what you've negotiated for your own home individually. So yes, I mean, if you become eligible to participate in a CCA after your contract ends with a prior ESCO, you can opt into the program. And it'll be the same number that you would call to opt in or opt out. The supplier's number that we require them to maintain for customer service questions regarding the program. And Nicole and I and Anna are also able to help you if you have questions about how to opt in. All right, more questions. Let's see. Oh, okay, this is a good one. My household is considered low income. We receive heat assistance. Can we still support renewable electricity? So that's a really good question. And there's a terrific program called Solar for All. This is available to households that qualify for HEAP and other public assistance programs. You can search Solar for All and get an application online. We also have it linked on our megacca.org website, and you can contact the Albany Housing Partnership. Kathleen Langton is the person there you would want to talk to if you have questions about Solar for All. All right. All right, so feel free to type in questions into the box. We'll go through as many as we can to stay within our 1 hour. So we have our half hour. So we have a couple more minutes. Here's a good question about billing that's coming in. What if I have billing questions? Do I call National Grid, Mega, or the supplier? Okay, good point, good question. So Mega's CCA team is available if you have questions. You can can't go wrong. Give us a call. We'll help direct you kind of to the right place that can help you. So if you experience an issue with your bill for supply, we can help you contact either the supplier or the utility company, because National Grid is still going to be sending you your bill. If you have a question about your delivery charges or other parts of your utility bill, that's National Grid, and you'll still contact them, you know, if your power goes out. You'll still contact them even if you're a CCA participating resident. So residents can request to opt in or out of the program, and that's done directly with the supplier. All right, what else do we have here? Another question, can I still participate in budget billing with CCA? That's a good question. So we know community choice aggregation offers a fixed rate, but that's different from what's called budget billing, which is offered by your utility company as a way to kind of stabilize your monthly costs. And if you are enrolled in National Grid's budget billing program, you can continue to participate in budget billing after you become a CCA participant. All right. We just got a question about rooftop solar. So what happens if you have rooftop solar? Great question. And the answer is also the same, you know, if you're a community solar subscriber. And the answer is that you can participate in the CCA and maintain your rooftop solar system. The programs are complementary. They affect different parts of your utility bill. So, you know, rooftop solar and community solar appear as credits on your bill. CCA is affecting the supply. So complementary programs and completely compatible with CCA if you have rooftop solar. That you can do both. All right, Nicole, how are we for questions? Have we gotten through all of the ones that have come in? Oh, here's another one. How can residents participate in energy sources with CCA? Do you see that question, Nicole?
Yes.
Sources. David, I'm not sure of what you mean particularly like this. So when we talk about deciding, you know, where your electricity comes from, is that I think that might be deciding locally what kind of electricity you want to support and purchase as a community. I think that's what you're asking. If I've gotten your question wrong, please clarify. So this is good to think about, because as a community, you can decide if you want to support renewables, and the renewable electricity that is offered to you through Mega's CCA program. Obviously, you know, we don't have that that offering yet. Until we go out to bid, we won't have the particulars, but they have to be credited with RECs that were produced in New York State. So if you want to know that you're supporting New York State renewable electricity, that's kind of how you do that. This is how you kind of have that control over your electricity supply. And you also, too, you know the supplier that you're working with, as opposed to having your utility company procure your supply for you. So this is a decision you can make at the local level, at your town or village or city level, to kind of take control of that choice and that purchase that your residents are all making. Feel free to type it in again, David, if I didn't answer that question the way that you had. If that didn't answer your question, just let us know. All right. I do want to encourage folks who are participating in this webinar, if you've not gone on your own municipality's website and seen the resources they've posted about CCA, familiarize yourself with that website as well as ours, because that's where you'll be able to kind of see the things that your town supervisor or your mayor has put up on their own website about their participation in the CCA program. And they will be posting information there once they've made a decision about what product offering. So you can always visit MEGA's page, and as well as our social media. So if you don't follow us on social media or like our page, you can do that in order to get the updates from MEGA in your news feed. All right. I think we've gotten through all of the questions on the list, but if anyone has a question after, please email us. We'll be happy to write you back or give us a call.
And we will share a document with the answers to those questions. When we post the recording of this webinar, we'll also post the Q&A document that has the answers to the questions that have come through, so that you have that for reference as well.
All right, well, I think we've about hit the 30-minute mark, and we thank you all for participating, for joining us today to get more of an update and an understanding of CCA. If anyone has questions, we look forward to hearing from you, and we will be in touch when we schedule the next webinar. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.